Today, I'm interviewing two cast members of the Rocky Horror Picture Show Coachella Valley Shadowcast, form at the Palm Springs Cultural Center on June 1st to kick off Pride Month in Palm Springs. What are your roles in the upcoming production of the Coachella Valley Shadowcast?
Well, I'll be playing Frank-N-Furter, the infamous Dr. Frank-N-Furter.
Awesome.
Yes, and I play Riff Raff, servant to Frank and brother/lover to Magenta.
Yes, he plays many roles.
Mhm.
Awesome. What is your favorite Riff Raff moment in the film?
Mine has to be the end after the floor show. So when he and Magenta come in their spacesuits and just taking over, basically telling Frank he's no longer in control and they're going back home without him. That whole scene is just, it's fabulous. It's ridiculous. And the callbacks are just hilarious. I love it.
Yeah, and he's so over dramatic at that moment, which makes it great.
Exactly.
And the contrast between Riff Raff and Magenta at that time, Riff Raff is so into it. Magenta is just kind of like, okay, what are we doing here?
Exactly. He's on a mission. That's it.
Yeah. Dylan, what is your favorite Dr. Frank-N-Furter moment?
So after Rocky's creation at the end of Sword of Damocles, he's asking everyone their opinion on Rocky. And Riff Raff and Magenta are like, yeah, he's great. And Columbia says, okay. And Frank goes, okay. And that is my favorite moment. My mother and I quote that just about every day.
Yes.
I love the fact that your favorite moment, if you just read it on paper, would be no big deal. But with the inflection that Tim Curry brings it, and I'm sure the enthusiasm that you're going to bring to it, it turns it into this amazing moment.
Exactly. That's a lot of the moments in the movie, honestly.
Exactly.
Okay.
I agree. First of all, I want to let you know I've been to every performance of the Coachella Valley Shadowcast. And when you guys played on Fridays and Saturday nights, I was there both Friday and Saturday. So I remember you playing Dr. Frank-N-Furter, and then I recognized that you switched to Janet, and now you're playing Riff Raff. So I think that's amazing that you're playing so many different roles.
Yes, it's an honor to play three very different yet important roles for sure in this glamorous, gaudy movie that's, a cult hit. When I played Frank in the first production, it was just necessary to understand his power and seduction over everyone. So I knew I had to be bold and bring that and deliver that to the audience so they knew who Frank was. While Janet was a moment for me to soften up and just kind of explore like a virgin's perspective of sexual liberation. So that was intriguing. And then with Riff Raff, I feel like he has been there, done that, and all he wants to do is just go home with his sister and do the time warp again. So I'm really
Love it. In my interview with the producer Katrina and the director Calvin, they both explained that their goal for the Shadowcast is not screen accuracy. So how do you plan to bring your own unique touch to the role of Riff Raff for you and Dr. Frank-N-Furter for you, Dylan?
I see you shiver with anticipation.
So my version of Frank-N-Furter, which I've been working on for a while, I've been doing Rocky since 2007, is a little mix of Audrey 2 with some Ursula, a little bit of Matron Mama Morton with some MC from Cabaret, just, bringing all the divas together.
I love it. And Little Shop of Horrors, that's anybody who loves Rocky Horror Picture Show, they automatically love Little Shop of Horrors as well.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just the same vein. How about you, Tracy, with the role of Riff Raff?
So Riff Raff to me represents, the behind the scenes antagonist. So I definitely want to capture that secretive, lurking in the dark vibe. And I feel like I'm very observant and patient. So as long as I keep my eye on the prize and finish, until the job is done, is very much on Riff Raff's board for sure.
Yeah, it's an interesting role because Riff Raff is the one that really introduces the audience to all of the aliens.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't know what he's brewing, basically. He has a plan. You don't know it, but he'll show you.
Talking about Riff Raff, the character, what do you think are the most important aspects of Riff Raff's personality that you want to capture?
Again, Riff Raff is very sinister and very murky and ominous. So interpreting that and delivering, a foreboding presence while keeping up a front. So nobody knows what's going on. They just think he's, some creepy, weird guy. But, they don't know.
And Dylan, how about you? With what are the important aspects of Dr. Frank-N-Furter's personality that you want to capture?
Well, he feels a strong sense of control in the situation, which is something I've learned you always need to have when you really want to feel superior in the situation. Like, for example, in cosmetology, you want to make sure you got all the parts of the hair put in different spots so you can keep all control of it, right? And as the movie goes on, he starts to lose his grip on the control and just trying to get it back and keep on top. That's the thing.
Yeah. Okay. What are some of the challenges you anticipate in playing your roles of Riff Raff and Dr. Frank-N-Furter?
So for me, it's just capturing, again, that essence that is Riff Raff, the lurking, the sneakiness, but just keeping up a front. So just feeling confident in my representation of Riff Raff, having fun, because that's what people are there for anyway, just to have a good time. So I want to.
How about you, Dylan?
For me, it's trying to make sure that I can run around in my heels all good. I just got my new heels. I'm ready to party in them. They look fantastic. So I'm very experienced in it, but it's been a bit. I haven't performed as Frank probably in like 6 or 7 years. So I'm excited. I'm so pumped.
So you performed as Frank before. Where did you perform it as Frank before?
Midnight Insanity in Long Beach. I used to be on their cast from when I was 16 to like 19. So from like 2012 to 2015, I was all sorts of characters. I played Magenta, Riff Raff, Frank. I was Eddie a couple times, Rocky. I did Trixie, the striptease in the beginning. Yeah.
All right. So we've got 2 Rocky Horror veterans here, just from different backgrounds. Yeah, excellent. How were you cast in the role of Riff Raff?
It was through audition. So we auditioned for various characters, and I think we just had to get a vibe, and feel who we resonate with. I was lucky enough to match with Riff Raff. So we were doing callbacks and just pairing with others to see how we interact and how we work. It worked. We were casted, and here we are.
Calvin and Katrina talked about how they've kind of set up the precedent that if you return to the shadow cast, that they really encourage you to play a different role. So this is part of the reason why here you are on your 3rd role. How has your experience been playing different roles, shifting from Dr. Frank-N-Furter, from Janet to Riff Raff?
Yeah, I mean, I think Dylan can agree. It's just pushing yourself to those limits, getting yourself into those characters and understanding why they do things, and just putting your fun spin on it while being true to the character.
Yeah.
Yeah, people will say that acting is like, what's my motivation? It's extremely important to know your motivations. It really drives everything forward.
Exactly. And to deliver that on stage as well is a feat too.
Yes.
Yeah, and I feel like, it has to be kind of big because you've got the movie behind you and you're in a dark theater. And I realize that, that you guys are using lighting and everything. But, to be able to feel it in the back row, that's a lot of responsibility to, play these characters big.
Exactly.
Yeah. Drawing attention from Tim Curry is a big shoe to fill.
Those are some pretty big heels to fill. So Dylan, how were you cast in the role of Dr. Frank-N-Furter?
So the first time I came and saw the Coachella Valley Shadow Cast was last summer. I came because I hadn't been to Rocky in a while, and I showed up and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I was going to audition in October, but then I didn't. So when I saw the auditions were coming up, I was really excited. So I put in to actually audition for the criminologist, the narrator role. And I came in and they're like, hey, can you read for Frank-N-Furter? I was like, sure. And now here I am.
Yeah, I could so picture that because for the criminologists, it's a lot lower energy, and I can feel your energy, and I love it. So I could totally see how they would try to encourage you to shift over to Dr. Frank-N-Furter. That's awesome. Any fun rehearsal or performance stories or audition stories that you'd like to share?
I mean, all the rehearsals are fun. You always get something out of it. But for me, what a memorable moment for me is the first time we got to know each other, our names with that catch and toss exercise.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, because we're a big group. So it got messy fast, but it was a fun time.
So
I don't
catch
know
and toss, can you clarify what that looked like?
So we're in a circle, and basically you are throwing various objects and calling out each person's name, introducing yourself in that sense. So they catch it, they in turn will do the same, name somebody, toss it to them. And so that's how you get to know everybody. But
fun.
yes, we had to do it forward, backwards, many times. And yeah, it was fun.
At one point, there were different objects and we had different like orders we had to go through, but we figured it out. I think Tracy and I were actually the two best.
Yes.
So how did the Rocky Horror Picture Show first come into your life? The very first time you saw it, or the very first time that it had any meaning to you?
So my Rocky Horror story is actually really crazy. When I was 11, my mom said to me, hey, you like musical theater. There's this thing called Rocky Horror. I went to it in the 80s. I don't fully remember, but it seems like something you'd be into. And then that same night, this was back when I lived in Santa Ana, way back in the day, we were driving past, there was a little theater across from the South Coast Plaza Mall that showed like old movies. And then the marquee that same day, Rocky Horror Picture Show tonight.
All right.
So we
Awesome.
went, and it was the most amazing moment of my life, and the rest of my life has been changed from that day on, and I've been going since that day forward. And yeah.
Nice.
How about with you, Tracy?
Mine kind of a bit of nowhere and in opportunity. So I had some friends helping Jen, owner of Peach Whiskers, photo shoot. They were doing a Rocky themed. So I joined the team. I met Katrina there. We're having the movie play in the background. She's telling me about her love of Rocky, her projects, her ambitions, and that she's holding auditions. So I had never done anything like that before. I decided to push myself out of my comfort zone. I auditioned. I watched the movie over and over again. I was just obsessed with Frank, and the rest is history. I'm here now.
All right. Excellent. So real quick, I'll tell you my story for being introduced to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. In the early 80s, I was in junior high school, and I had some friends that invited me to go. I knew that would not fly with my parents. I knew, absolutely knew. So I actually asked my parents if I could spend the night at my friend's house, and my friend asked if they could spend the night over at my house.
Ooh.
And then that freed us up to go to the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Good for you.
So I was totally a kid that I caused my parents no problems whatsoever, but the Rocky Horror Picture Show was always kind of like the thorn in their side, because that was the one thing where it's like, okay, I'm not listening.
Yeah,
and it was back in the heyday, in the early 80s. They had in two different theaters. This was in the city of Orange at the Orange Mall 6, which no longer exists, at the Mall of Orange, which no longer exists. And it was such an amazing time. Not just all the representation in the film, of different sexual orientations and gender identities, but just the rock and roll music. That's what really got me. The rock and roll music. So here I am, decades later, and I was so excited when the Coachella Valley Shadowcast came, because it really gives me the opportunity to pretend like it's 1982 all over again. You guys have done an incredible job.
Thank you. And that's what it's about. I mean, bringing that liberation to the Valley so that others know that there's a community that, will bring you joy. That will embrace you, is what I'm trying to say.
And kids, don't do what I did. Get your parents to, but in 2024, their parents should be bringing them.
It should be a family event, definitely.
Yes. And also, it's not at midnight, it's at 9 p.m. So that's also makes it more accessible to everybody.
Yes.
Definitely.
Okay, so when and where can people see the Coachella Valley Shadowcast perform in front of the Rocky Horror Picture Show next?
on June 1st at the Palm Springs Cultural Center, Camelot Theater.
All right. I know I'll be there. I look forward to seeing you guys. And anybody who's local, you've got to come. If you're anywhere near Palm Springs, you've got to come. And if you're in Southern California, make a weekend out of it. I mean, June is awesome weather in Palm Springs. You know, this is, you know, weather where you can go in the swimming pool and hang out at the pool all day and go out to dinner and then go to Rocky Horror. It couldn't be a better weekend trip.
Especially if you're a virgin. Remember that. We do service to the
Yes.
virgins out there.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. Thank you both.
Thank you.
And I will see you guys on June 1st.
Excited. We'll see you.
Okay,
See
take
you
care.
there.